Good evening, you're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Vishnu Shom. There's an intense debate across the country on the verdict of the Supreme Court releasing 6 people convicted in the assassination of the former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. While the DMK has welcomed the verdict, the Congress party for its part has slammed the decision, even though the Gandhis themselves have forgiven the convicts. In fact, Priyanka Gandhi personally met Nalini, one of those who was convicted and originally sentenced to death. She met her in jail and said that this was a closed chapter for her. On the show tonight, the debate around the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi. Should his killers have been released? We'll also be speaking in a few moments to Nalini Sriharan, one of those released. She's been in jail for 31 years, says she's deeply sorry about what happened and insists that she personally never conspired to assassinate Rajiv Gandhi. The release of the convicts has again brought in a debate on whether India is a soft state when it comes to handling terror or whether this was the humane thing to do. Rajiv Gandhi was assassinated on the 21st of May 1991 at Sriperumbudur, Tamil Nadu by a woman suicide bomber belonging to the LTTE. He was in a public rally at the time. Well, joining us now, Nalini Sriharan. She was born into a well-educated family. Her father worked as a police inspector. Her mother was a nurse. In February 1991, she came in touch with the Sri Lankan national Murugan, who influenced her to join the LTTE. She went along with the assassins team when the IED which killed Rajiv Gandhi was triggered. She was 2 months pregnant with Murugan's child when she was put in prison. Nalini, thank you for joining us. There's been widespread criticism at your release from jail. Many believe you should be spending the rest of your life behind bars. How do you respond?
I have suffered and suffered and suffered a lot for the past 3 decades, and I'm not telling you false things. I talk truth only.
Sorry, go on. Go ahead.
Political case. It's a former assassination, former Prime Minister's assassination case. So you know how difficult it is for us to come out of this case.
No, but do you believe...
a lot.
Okay. Do you believe the fact that the Gandhis themselves, Priyanka Gandhi specifically, for example, was ready to forgive you, helped in any way towards your eventual release?
Yes, definitely.
So you met Priyanka. Tell us a little bit about that meeting.
She's a very kind person. Yeah, she's a very kind person. She is an angel, and she made me respect myself because I was very, how to say, we were not treated properly in the jail. We were not even allowed to sit in front of an officer or whoever it is. We have to stand and talk to them, talk to people. But when she came to meet me, she made me sit next to her, touching each other. That was very, very different experience for me. So she was an angel, really.
Your child was also born when you were in jail, right? Your child eventually was brought up by another family. I believe she's now a lawyer. Are you going to be reunited with her? Do you have a very close contact with her?
Yeah, we have to. Yeah, she has forgotten me totally. I was the one who gave birth to her, but I got separated from her after 2 years of her age. So after giving her outside, she forgot totally who I am. I'm her mother. Everything she forgot. Now we are trying to recollect her, what all happened, everything, how happened. I am her mother, like that. So it's a very difficult situation for me.
Nalini
and for her mainly, because we are matured, we can understand things. But she is very young. She couldn't understand what is happening, what is why she is suffering like that. So it's very difficult for her, my daughter mainly.
Nalini Sriharan, do you regret your role in the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi?
I don't have any role at all, really. But the case, very, very difficult only. For the case, I regret, really.
But you were convicted, ma'am, which is why I'm asking.
Yeah. I know. I'm convicted. But to my heart and to my, how to say, conscious.
Go ahead. Your conscience, yes?
It's very peaceful, and it knows what happened. And it knows how it is. No, it didn't do anything harm.
All right. You feel your conscience is clear. But ma'am, how did you get involved in this conspiracy in the first place?
Conspiracy, I think I'm not involved, but 26 members are there, so they have to link each and everybody in this case, so they put that 120B conspiracy case.
But ma'am, you knew many, for example, your husband Murugan is also someone who's been convicted. You know some of the other people as well who were part of the conspiracy. Apparently people who were actually killed when they, in the blast which was triggered. How did you get into this in the first place?
They are from my husband's friends, they are. So I got acquainted with them. And I'm a very reserved person. I don't talk to them much and all. When they needed help, like going to shops or a theater or hotels or temples, I used to go with them. That's it. Other than that, I don't have any personal contact, or I don't know their family, where they belong to, nothing I know.
One or two more questions. You were on death row for many years. It was only after, I think, 2000, that from being sentenced to death, you were given life in jail. Could you tell us, what went through? Because as I understand it, you were actually told that you were about to be executed on a few occasions.
Yes, very, very difficult situation. My daughter was very young that time. She don't have sisters or brothers or nobody. She had only daughter she was. And my husband also was facing the death sentence. It was really very, very difficult. I cannot explain to you my experience and my feelings that time. 7 times they put up black warrant. They used to take wait for me. அதாவது அங்கே போயிட்டு ட்ரையல் பார்ப்பாங்க, போட்டு பார்ப்பாங்க, மணல் மூட்டெல்லாம் போட்டு பார்ப்பாங்க. அதுக்கப்புறம் வந்து அந்த ரூம் எல்லாம் ரெடி பண்ணுவாங்க, டெத் சென்டென்ஸ் கொடுக்கறதுக்கான ரூம் எல்லாம் ரெடி பண்ணுவாங்க. அதெல்லாம் என் கண் முன்னாடியே தான் நடந்தது. நடந்துரும் அப்படின்னு நினைச்சேன். எல்லாருக்கும் வந்து டியூட்டி எல்லாம் போட்டுட்டாங்க. அப்போ வந்து இல்ல எனக்கு வந்து என்னோடைய எமோஷன்ஸ் வந்து என்னோட லாங்குவேஜ்ல தான் என்னால கன்வே பண்ண முடியுது. இது ப்ளீஸ் சாரி, நீங்க வந்து அதை டிரான்ஸ்லேட் பண்ணிக்கங்க.
Ma'am, one more question. Is it your intention now to be a politician, to join politics in Tamil Nadu?
Sorry. No. Politics ko enakku romba dooram, far away.
All right. So that was Nalini Sriharan. I was speaking to her earlier on in the day. It's the first time we've actually played out that interview on NDTV 24/7. After 31 years, she's out of jail, but there are serious questions about whether, as a nation, we should be letting out those who've been accused, convicted of assassinating a prime minister, or for that matter, anybody else, somebody who's faced she's been told that she's clearly mentioned over there that she faced the death penalty. It was only subsequently that was changed to life in death. Is India a soft state? Is this the way that we should be dealing with terrorists? I think is the question. Joining us now, Shama Mohammed of the Congress, Dharanidharan, the DMK spokesperson, Colin Gonzalez of the Supreme Court, Alok Vats of the BJP. Shama Mohammed, it's on the one hand you've got the Gandhis who consider at least the Nalini part of things to be a closed chapter. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra apparently shed tears as she sat in prison with Nalini many years ago, and yet the Congress party believes that people like her should not have been forgiven. How do you as a party and individually balance the two?
Okay, Vishnu, one thing is I didn't know this assassin was coming on television before me. I wouldn't have come. Number two, I have a sincere request to you journalists. Please don't make a hero out of this person.
Nobody's
and give the media
hero out of her. If you saw the interview, Shama, we asked very direct questions on her role, on how she met her husband, on whether she regrets the assassination. So there's no question of making a hero of anybody.
Yeah, because, it's really, really disturbing for me, for my party. There is one way a family deals with it. Now, if there's a normal family, somebody killed, they're forgiving, it's one thing. Let's understand who this person is. It's our former Prime Minister. Yes. What is the precedent we're giving? Is that you can assassinate, you can kill our Prime Minister and then get away with it. Have not even life imprisonment, but get away. Why did the Supreme Court, my question today is, invoke Article 142? Now, of course, it is invoked in many cases when it comes to human rights issues. It comes to the Ram Janmabhoomi issue. But here, you're releasing the terrorists. Now, here this lady says, Nalini, she said, I have no role. She bought the salwar kameez or the dress for Dhanu. When she entered that area, she exactly knew what Dhanu was up to. Maybe, she knew exactly. She could have called the police that time. She could have, called somebody and said, you know what, there is going to happen. She did not do it. So she is a conspirator in this, and she is a terrorist come assassin. So what my question today is, why did they invoke? If they wanted to invoke, there is Umar Khalid, there is Siddiq Kappan, there is Anand Teldumbe, there is Surendra Gadle, there is Sagar Ghorke, there is Ramesh Gaichor, many other human rights activists out there. Release them, but do you want to release assassins? And the very important question today to the government of India is, why was the governor quiet? He had the file with him from 2018 onwards. When the Tamil Nadu government went to him, he kept it till 2020, he did not. The Supreme Court clearly says that the governor sat on the file. Now, who does the governor come from? So maybe even Mr. Modi says that he is a very strong, he gives out an idea of India where he's a strong man. But here, I don't see the strong man anymore. And the message we are giving with the release of the assassins, with the release of the Bilkis Bano rapists come mass murderers, what is India's message? What is the justice? I feel it has failed.
Okay. Dharan, how would you respond to those who say that, look, India is a soft state, they should never have been allowed? I know what the laws say, but perhaps those laws need to change. If someone was to suggest that, how would you respond?
See, DMK strongly condemns the bomb blast that led to the death of Honorable ex-Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi ji. At the same time, this was not about whether they made the crime or not. The court has clearly settled this. The issue was about human rights. Can any person be put in prison for more than 25 years? Justice is not about punishing a person, but about reforming them and reducing recidivism. So each case has to be taken in a unique manner. So here, these convicts who were released were treated as murder convicts, not as terrorists. This was done by the court. So we do not want to get into that. And another issue here is the federal rights of the state. The governor had no role in this. He was sitting on this file for more than 10 years.
Dharanji, let me just ask you one basic question. You say that these people have done 3 decades in jail and that there is a legal provision which allows them to be released. But then do you, by that same token, believe that those who were involved in the rape of Bilkis Bano, on the murder of her child, they should also be let out because they've served time in jail, which is what the government's argument is?
No, Vishnu. Each case is unique.
The law is the same.
The judiciary,
the law needs to apply. Say, I understand every case is similar, but to me it just seems as if this is a very deep political issue entrenched for your party. On the one hand, you say it's wrong for Bilkis's rapists to get out, but on the other hand, you say it's okay for her, for Nalini and the others to get out, right? So why do you do? How can that be the case?
See, even the court verdict, if you read, I think day before yesterday, and Ram was also on your show, and he also said the same thing. Even the court verdict, which punished them, also says they were not directly involved in the offence. And in fact, the investigative officer Karthikeyan of the ex-IPS said that he made a mistake and made Perarivalan as one of the convicts, and his only role was to buy batteries. But see, this matter has been settled by the court. Let's not go into it. They have been told they're convicts. But that apart, they have now been released because they've shown extraordinary conduct in the jail. They've got degrees, they've written articles, and so on and so forth. And using the article 162.
Not to interrupt you, but even Bilkis's rapists apparently have showed exemplary behavior and yet, and so they've been released as
No,
well.
no,
But
see.
you have a problem with them being released, but over here, good behavior is good enough to get somebody out.
No, as I clearly said, each case is unique.
Okay.
You can't compare two different...
Okay, let me bring in Colin Gonzalez, and I know Alok Vats has a point to make. Let me go to Colin Gonzalez first. Sir, you've championed human rights. And obviously that's more important than most other things, if not anything else in our country and in our system of living. But do you sometimes also feel that in certain crimes, the assassination of a Prime Minister, for example, that perhaps our laws are too lenient, we are a soft state?
On the contrary, I would say that if you compare India with, let's say, Europe, India is a very hard state. Don't forget that in the judgment of the Supreme Court, all these persons released today were acquitted under TADA of the charge of terrorism. Very few people know that. So what remained were the IPC provisions relating to murder and conspiracy. Quite possibly, it could be argued that a person who is convicted of murder, 14 years is the maximum. And after 14, minimum, and after 14 years, the remission provisions kick in. So it's quite possible that they should have been released after 14 years, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20.
Right.
But 31 years in prison is something unheard of. In Europe, it would never have happened, particularly with good conduct. If they were in a European court and committed the same crime, possibly they would have got out in 20 years.
But in an American court, and you would know this better than me, they would be sentenced for perhaps many lifetimes.
But America is hardly a role model anymore to follow from the human rights point of view. It's quite barbaric. It's in fact one of the most barbaric countries in its treatment of prisoners. So don't compare us with America, please.
Alok,
the whole of Europe is a very good example.
I get your point, Mr. Gonzalez. Alok Vats, to the specific point that Colin Gonzalez raises, that these are individuals who've been acquitted of TADA, and therefore they faced normal charges or murder charges where that 14-year rule applies. Therefore, for us or for people to say that they need to be serving the rest of their lives in jail is perhaps not correct. Do you agree with this argument?
Yes. What Mr. Gonzalez has explained is very, very thoroughly has explained the laws that are prevailing in this country. And at first, it is not a soft state. Somebody languishing in jail for 31 years is almost his prime life. And 14 years is the limit after which they should have been released. But they lingered on for 31 years. So there is no question of a soft targeting. But yes, nowadays, if you have a good conduct and things like this, and if the Supreme Court considers it, that 142 should be revoked and then released, I think there is nothing wrong in it. And as regards Nalini and others who have been released, the Gandhis themselves have pardoned them. They have met her personally.
No, but on a personal, on a personal basis. And I think, it's one thing for them to believe what they like. I'm asking you, sir, Alokji, as a member of a party which champions the notion of a strong India, right? One way or the other, if you've got people who've been convicted at one stage on the charges of terrorism, that also the murder of a Prime Minister, the assassination, does it work for the BJP that they are released?
No. How does it work for where are we involved in whether it is working against us or in favor of us?
I'm asking you to comment on the judgment. We can't criticize the judgment.
The judgment.
I'm just asking you to comment on the judgment. Is this something?
Yes. We cannot question the judgment of the Supreme Court.
I'm not asking you to question it. I'm asking you the implications of the judgment. Why don't I ask you put it in those words? What are the implications of this judgment for India? A country the BJP says is not a soft state. How would you argue that India is a soft state if these people were released? That's my question.
We are not a soft state. No way. 31 years of somebody's prime life time is not a soft targeting. It's a very hard decision. And as the Congress spokesperson Shama is trying to make a political issue out of it. I think she should refrain from it. Let's not bring in politics for everything. But yes, what I didn't like was the DMK chief minister. I have been told that he embraced them. This is not correct. This type of behavior should not have come from the chief minister towards these convicts. This I disagree with it.
Mr. Dharanidharan, is that correct? Did the chief minister embrace some of those who were released?
See, I think he's referring to the fact that our chief minister met Perarival when he was released. See, that is again another unique scenario because he's been languishing in jail for more than 30 years. That said, as I referred earlier, the investigative officer, the Karthikeyan himself said that probably Perarivalan did not play any role, and his only job was to buy a battery, and he made a mistake in including him in the charge sheet. That's what he said. See, I do not want to go into it because it was settled by the court. But no, let me complete. No. Let me complete because otherwise I could be misread by the viewers.
Battery is the main.
Alokji, half a second. Alokji, half a second. Let him make his point.
No. See, listen. This is what he said. I am not concurring with him or denying him. It's not my job. The court has settled the matter. That being said, there was some suspicion, some amount of suspicion that he could have been innocent, and he has languished in jail for more than 30 years. He came and wanted to meet our chief minister. He met, and that was the public will of the people as such, because there are amount of soft corner for him because of these rumors that were going that he could have been innocent. That's about it. So,
can I come in?
Having said that, I just want to add one more thing. Also, having said that, like I agree with Gonzalez that India is one of the hardest states. Most Western countries, or more so in the European Union, have banned death sentence. In fact, when hardened terrorist was brought back to India from Portugal.
So, is it the position of the DMK that the death sentence needs to be banned in India?
No, I'm saying what is prevailing in the European Union.
I'm asking you, is it you're quoting the European Union? I'm asking you, do you believe that should exist in India? Is this the position of the DMK? You're the spokesperson for the party.
No, see, that is...
All right, so no clear answer there. Shama, go ahead.
I just have three things to say to the three individuals sitting here. To the DMK spokesperson, according to his logic, since Nalini was not directly involved, she has to be. So in that logic, Yaqub Memon should not have been hanged. That's what he's trying to say. Wait, let me finish. I did not interrupt you. BJP spokesperson, he said, this is not right. He hugged, the DMK chief minister hugged Nalini and all that. Now they have given ticket to a person who said that the people who raped, they could not have raped Bilkis Banu because they're Sanskari Brahmins. So you can do that. And to Mr. Wilson, I would like to say that, there's no death penalty in the European Union. Yes. They are this, they are that. The reason for that, in India, we have a lot of issues. What is our boundary? On one side, we have China, not great relations. We lost 20 soldiers. We are losing every other day soldiers at the POK, at the border there at the LOC with Pakistan. So we have a lot of terrorists coming in. We have had terrorist attacks in our country. Europe is not like that. Please don't compare India with Europe. We need to be hard on these terrorists. We need to put a message out that whoever assassinates our prime minister, whoever is involved in terrorist activity in this country, will be punished either with the death penalty or life imprisonment, and we will not release. We cannot give out these
Shama, you've not answered my question, which was my first question to you, is that how does the Congress reconcile what the Gandhis have said and done? There is a great deal, some would suggest, of humanism. This is a family which was traumatized by the death of Rajiv Gandhi, the assassination. Priyanka and Rahul Gandhi grew up with this horrific imagery. Their entire lives have been spent with this knowledge in which their father was brutally murdered. And yet they find it within themselves to forgive the killers. Why is it that the Congress party doesn't accept that? You seem to accept everything the Gandhis say.
I did not say I'm not accepting. Of course, I'm accepting that. That is, of course, their personal thing. But my question today is if Mr. Rajiv Gandhi was just a family member there and nobody to this country. It is a different thing. But we have to understand he was the former prime minister. So what is the message we are giving assassins? What is the message we are giving terrorists?
So you believe that the Gandhis are wrong in terms of the message?
No, I do not believe that. I do not. That's what I said. They have done a great thing. They have a heart of gold is what I'm saying. To forgive the husband's killer, and for the children, the father's killer is something I must say is a heart of gold. That is their personal thing. And I am with them on that part. in a personal way. But what I'm saying is that the president, the country gives. We cannot have any more of our prime ministers, presidents, or any leaders or anybody assassinated. We saw what happened in Japan recently. You know what happened in Japan.
Sure. Alokji, I just want to get a point from you. In our civilization, in our system of values, forgiveness, what Gandhiji had taught us, is something which we are supposed to hold, in great stead. Does the BJP believe that what the Gandhis have done on a personal basis is something that needs to be lauded? That they found the heart to forgive people who have killed or been part of a plot to kill their nearest and dearest one?
I salute them for this exemplary thing, what they have done. Only a person with a very big heart can do this. The mother, the wife and the children, in the prime age, they lost their father and they have forgiven these people. It's a very big thing. I once again salute them for their deed. And it's exemplary deed. One has to have a very golden heart, a very strong heart to do this act.
All right. All right, look, we are out of time on this, but I think several more questions will be asked as far as this case is concerned and the laws. The entire issue of humanity versus India being a soft state and of course the law and how it is applied. Is it applied selectively as some would suggest it is? I'd like to thank you all very much for being with us out of time on this program.